How's it going, beautiful people of Instagram? This is Jose Trujillo once again, coming to you from my art studio. Yeah, I'm in the art studio, getting some stuff ready, some artwork. Those of you who can join in. Those of you who can't, I'm sorry for you, my friends, because this is one that you don't want to miss. This is one hell of a show. Let's call it a show. I've been eating some pecans. I love pecans, so I'm sorry if you see me spitting some pecans. I don't know why I love pecans. I just do. Peanut butter. No, not peanut butter. What is it called? Butter pecan. Peanut butter. Butter pecan ice cream. Oh, man. You want to kill me with something? Give me some butter pecan ice cream. So there you guys have it. Jose Trujillo, your world's greatest living artist. Today's Mindset Monday. Okay? I talked to you guys about getting your mindset right. This up here needs to be right. This up here is not right. You're gonna have a hell of a lot of trouble showing up, creating artwork. Forget about selling art. You don't even have a chance if this up here is not right. This squares everything else out. This thing right here. And the reason why I say this, like the mind, right? I have enough experience already playing this game. If your mind ain't right, if your mind's not open and true, what I mean by this is that you're not cranking it all the time. You're leaving it alone, right? And you're just using what works, and you're utilizing it. It's not utilizing you. So you learn things, and then you leave it alone, and then you work with your heart, right? This is Mindset Monday. Today I talk to you guys again about having your mindset in the right place so that you can create your artwork. Talk to the galleries, visit your galleries, get in the studio, whatever you need to do. I don't know. Look at this awesome hair, man. I've been better at my hair. I've been taking care of my hair. So what I want to talk to you guys about, being Mindset Monday, of course, is don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. If you see that things aren't working for you, and you're like, man, I can't get my mind right. I try, and then I get to a point where, oh man, it's no use. I don't know how to balance myself. Maybe you're trying to balance your thing, your artwork and your lifestyle or whatever. Or maybe I don't know how to be productive. Maybe you seem to be productive sometimes, and then other times you're like, all over the place. Or you have this a lot. Peaks and valleys. Lots of them. Now, I learned from a mentor, peaks and valleys are okay. There's no problem with having peaks and valleys. What you want to do is have peaks and valleys that go up. You want to have this. Kind of like the Little Mermaid. Yeah. Instead of having peaks and valleys, because a straight line sooner or later will decline. You don't want it to decline. You want it to have your straight line. You want it to go like that. Yes, it's not so straight, but you want it to go up. I hope I'm making any sense to any of you guys out there making your moves, hustling it, getting your gallery shows, selling your artwork, creating your art collections. I don't know. Maybe you're in the art studio and you're like, man, I don't know what to paint. If you're going through that kind of stuff, you're not alone. How's it going, Deborah? Thank you so much for showing up, guys. MD Mazer. What's up? Elise Magala. How's it going? Yeah, what you want to do is make sure that your peaks and valleys go up. I hope that some of you are grasping what I'm talking about. The people grasping are the people that have been playing the game for a little bit now, and you'll realize that sometimes you are in optimal mindset, and then sometimes you're not, and you want to figure out how to be in this place where you're not. It's not difficult, right, to show up to work. It's not so difficult to do the things that you have to do. Trend up. There you go. Trend up. Yeah. I like that. So the message is don't give up, guys. Here's why. Okay, duh, right? Everybody knows don't give up. Don't give up. The reason why is because you may be figuring things out and you might not really realize that. You might not know. You may be, every step you take, every reminder you make. Sorry about the barking. I have a couple of little puppies outside going bananas outside the studio. They're my guard dogs. Like puppies, like this little. So you may be cooking something up, right? And you may be selling yourself short. If you're like, man, I'm not really getting this, right? At least it means that you're trying and that you care about getting your mindset right. Now, this could be you could also have a foil effect, which means that you think that everything's fine and you're not really putting in the work. And that I don't know which one hurts more. To have an overinflated idea of, man, I'm working so hard, and you're really not. Or to have an idea like myself, I'm very hard on myself, and having an idea that, man, I know I can do more. I'm the hardest critic there can be on me, right? I think we all have that. But my self, I guess, criticism or whatever, is more like, dude, crank it up. It's not like, dude, you suck, stop. No, it's like, dude, you're doing great, crank it up. You can do better. You know, this is what I tell myself, right? If I talk to myself, I don't, but I guess my mind talks to me. It sounds so weird. Like, dude, crank it up. I'm like, okay, I got that. So yeah, guys, don't give up, guys. As you're going through life, you realize that there are all these things, right, that you want to get better at, to have your mindset correct, right? All these I don't know, little things, right? Little things that may be pressing you. I can't get to finish the commission. I'm not, I need to work on a commission and I don't seem to have it in me to finish it. And then you may be very hard on yourself. Don't give up, guys. Just keep working on it. I found out that if your mindset is not right, nothing else is right. But if you don't constantly look at it and say, I need my mindset to be right. I need my mindset to be right. You write it down in your goals or whatever. If you don't constantly look at it, your focus is not going to be on that. Your focus is going to be on something else, and you're going to miss on that. I used to think that if you just work, you kind of fix it all, and that's definitely true. But it's married. It's married. You got to put in the work, but you also have to have the right attitude. You have to have the right mindset. And the right attitude and the right mindset is not always happy, but you want to be enthusiastic. And a way to be enthusiastic, right, is to be productive, right? So they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. And many times we're tempted to give up and to say, you know what, this is just not for me. I'm not going to be a full-time artist, or I'm not going to get that gallery show, or whatever, whatever you're doing. It's just not going to work for me. And what happens is that we're missing the most important part when we give up, which is the consistency. I heard this guy talk about consistency in a very different way. I've never really heard anyone else talk about it that way. This guy said, look, it's like a push-up, right? If you ask someone, oh, do a push-up, there's people that are going to say, oh, I need the space, right? Like the procrastination, right? I need the space to do it. And then someone else might say, I don't know if I'm doing it right. Am I using the right muscles or blah, blah, blah. And then there's the person the futurist, right? Well, I'd love to do the push-up, but I don't want broad shoulders. So I'm going to stay away from push-ups. I'm going to do some other type of exercise or whatever. And for all of them, the scenario is not complete. The scenario is not right. So what this guy said, look, dude, it's just a push-up. Why are you making so much out of it? out of that push-up, right? And it's because we start thinking about everything that has to do with that. We start over processing it, right? We start overthinking it, and we start thinking about, well, what is one push-up gonna do for me? Or the same thing with artwork. Like, do one painting. One painting. What is one painting? Or show up 1 hour, or show up 30 minutes, just every day, just 30 minutes in your art studio. What is that gonna do for me? You're going to start digging, right? You're going to start digging for that gold inside of you. And then the next day you show up a little better. Deborah has been there. How's it going? Semino Wood. How's it going? So you start digging, right? You start digging, and you won't find out unless you do the first one. So that's why I say don't give up. I know I start all of my stuff. I started with like circles to try to hit different pinpoints. But if you don't continue, right? If you don't do that one push-up, you won't find the strength to do the second one. So why even think about the second one? Why even think about, am I doing the right push-up? Am I doing the right? It's the same thing. I'm just sharing with you guys something that I learned from this guy. But it's the same thing with artwork. I mean, it's the same exact thing. Why would I want to do this artwork? Is my style right? Just think about it for a second. Is my style right? Like, that's not even a question right now. You shouldn't even be questioning that. You should just be like doing, oh, okay, well, do one painting. And then the next day, oh, okay, and then it perfects, right? You participate in it, but it's almost automatically the more you do it. And usually the less you think about it, not usually, almost always, the faster and the more pure it comes out, right? Your style, your technique, your personal voice as an artist, your viewpoint or whatever, it starts coming out. It springs out of that. But it won't happen unless you take the first step. Because as I mentioned in another video, the first door that you open holds the key to the second one, and on and on and on and on. And many of us want to see the results before we even get started, and that's why we start giving up, and we start going, man, I don't know if this is for me. Should I even be trying this? Another great way that I heard it was, it's like looking at weights and saying, when I get the strength, I'm going to go lift those, and he laughs about it, of course, because it's funny, right? There's this mentor, it's a coaching session. And he said, dude, no, like you can't wait till you get the strength or go get the strength to lift the weights. Like lifting the weights is how you get the strength, right? To lift the weights. It's like the weirdest thing, right? It sounds so, I know it sounds like duh, dude, but that's life. Like I wish I could get better at painting. Well, painting is how you get better at painting, there's no other way. Painting is how you get better at it. I wish I could get better at marketing. Marketing is the way you get better at marketing. Like, keep marketing. There is no jumps. Like, I know I'm all about jumps and quantum leaps and all that kind of stuff, right? Like doing more and making these jumps in your career. But what I'm trying to say is there's no shortcuts. There's jumps, and they take half of your strength, if not the whole strength, to do a jump. But there's no shortcuts. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna do this for 3 days, and then all of a sudden I'm gonna be the best artist, or I'm gonna go learn from this master artist, and I'm gonna become this great artist. No, like, there's no shortcuts, right? You're gonna have to go through the process. And we're tempted. We're tempted to be like, you know what, this may not be for me. So I am telling you guys, if you guys are ever tempted, or if this happens to you, where you may feel like what's the point? I have too much of this. Some days I'm excited. Some days I don't care about showing up to work or create artwork, right? Some days I'm very inspired, and other days I'm like, and you're trying to fix that, right? You're trying to fix that. I don't think there's anything wrong with trying to figure that part out. I myself I'm always figuring that part out, but I never stop painting, and that's the key. If you stop creating work and try to figure that one out, you're not going to figure it out. So you gotta keep moving to try to figure it out. Thank you so much, Deborah. Deborah says, thank you bunches. I love that. Thank you. So we tend to think that we're gonna figure things out from the bleachers, and you're not, right? You're not gonna figure it out from the bleachers, and you're not gonna figure it out by playing the game either. You're gonna figure it out by playing the game with consistency. With consistency, that's where you figure it out. If you just go play the game every now and then, you're not gonna figure it out. It's gonna be hard for you to figure it out. Like it's gonna be hard for you to figure out your own style. I know some artists who are really great at painting, and they still tell me, like, I don't know, I don't think I really have a style. Like, they're very confused about, momentum. There you go. They're very confused about what they do, and on and on and on and on. And they've been painting for like 30 years, right? Some longer. And they're like, I don't know if my stuff is good or whatever. And I think part of that is because they've been creating artwork for a long period of time, but in little chunks, in little bite size, right? They never gulped it, as I like to do it. They never gulped it. They never chugged it, right? My experience is it's better to chug it, right? But for long periods of time than to take little bite size for long periods of time. Of course, right? I hope that made any sense. I'd rather go and show up to the studio every day for multiple hours than wait to... you got to do it every day. That's right. That's what Toby Newhouse says. You got to do it every day. And you're tweaking it as you're doing it. You're tweaking it, right? But you can't tweak it from far away. And that's the message. Like just grab onto it. Grab onto it and keep doing it. And you'll start noticing how things are going to start working for you as long as you keep going. One of the things also that I recommend as you're going and doing it every day, try to do something that is outside your comfort zone. I don't know, use a different brush, use a different something. If you paint landscapes, play a little bit with portraits. If you paint portraits, play a little bit with landscapes, and on and on and on. If you just do florals, what I'm trying to say is look, it's really romantic and it's really cool. Like, we think about Monet landscapes, John Singer Sargent, portraits, George O'Keeffe florals, right? It's very romantic and it's very cool. And I believe you have to be very aggressive, and you have to be in the like aggressive and prepared, so that when that thing shows up, you're like, what I'm trying to say is very romantic to look at those artists and say, oh man, I want to be the artist of flowers, like George O'Keeffe. That's a very romantic notion. It's very cool. It's very noble. But I believe that if you're a one-trick pony, it might get harder if you're not, especially if you're not aggressive enough. And what I mean one-trick pony is that you're like, I only create portraits that look like this with this type of colors and this type of material, and that's it. In order to get that out into the marketplace, you have to be very aggressive. And I believe that you may miss on other experiences, on other things, right? On creating florals or landscapes or this or that or conceptual art and kind of broaden yourself, right? Not to the point where you don't know, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's a good thing. I think it's a really great thing when you get to the point where you don't know who you are anymore, and then you kind of reconstruct your, but anyways, that's something personal. I love getting to those moments where I'm like, who am I again? Do I paint landscapes or portraits? Like, who am I again? And that's when I find myself, right? I like that. I don't call it. It's the Picasso approach, where you pour, right? You empty yourself and then you go pour yourself again of something different, right? In other words, you're always reinventing yourself. You're always coming up with a new version of yourself, and thus it helps you grow, right? It gives you this I believe it's more like an invincibility kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, but like, I don't just paint landscapes. I paint portraits. I do this. I do that. And you're not just prolific, but you play with different styles and different things. And I don't know. That's just me. But anyways, let me retract from that. Just hold on to it. Hold on to it and keep doing it and keep doing it, and you will notice that you're gonna eventually start finding out the way. You're gonna start finding out the way of how to talk to the gallery to get exhibits, how to show up to the art studio, how your style is going to start showing up, right? Your style, the way that you create artwork. All of a sudden, it's going to start, becoming this thing that you molded, right? And some people are blessed, right? They do it. Some people feel like they're more blessed than others. Some people get their style like boom, like that. It takes them a few years or whatever. Some people it takes them a lifetime to get really, to get that thing right. I mean, look at Jackson Pollock. He painted a certain way for the longest time, right? And that abstract expressionism or that type of expressionist work, and then all of a sudden he's like boom, action painter, right? This shift that happens. For many artists, things happen that way. But you have to keep going. That's what I'm trying to say. You have to keep going. You have to keep going. And I say this with a lot of respect. I know I do a lot of emphasis, and I'm like, oh, I get loud and blah blah. But I really say with a lot of respect. As artists, we tend to do things only when they're comfortable, and because we believe many times that being comfortable equals inspiration. Like, oh, this feels good, I'm inspired. That's not inspiration. That's being comfortable. If you feel like fuzzy and happy and you're drinking your best latte and you're listening to jazz or whatever you listen to when you're painting and you're like, this is great. But if you don't do it the second day or the third day or the fourth day, or you don't do it for a sustained amount of time, you ain't inspired. You're just comfortable. Just want to make that clear. You're just comfortable. It just feels good. It's like, oh man, this feels so good. That's not necessarily inspiration. That's happiness. Like you feel like, a little bliss. You're like, yeah, this feels right. I always knew I wanted to be an artist. Inspiration is when you're galloping on the horse. You're like, dun, 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 dun. That's inspiration. Inspiration is very different. It's a very powerful state. It's you start creating collections of artwork. You start moving and shaking. Income starts coming in, or not always, or you start showing up in the marketplace, and in the art world so much that people are like, dude, I want you to do an exhibit in my gallery or whatever, right? But you're galloping. That's how it always happens, right? You're at full force. It's like this. You have the strength of horses. You're on full throttle, or however you call it. That's inspiration. Anyways, for me, that's my experience of inspiration. There's little moments that you're ignited with it. You're like, oh yeah, but if you don't keep the consistency, that goes away, right? So the consistency is what keeps it up there. It's only when you're constant, when you have the consistency, that you're able to maintain. See, inspiration. It's like I went to the Children's Museum. I have a 10-year-old son, and there is this it's like in the Children's Museum. There's this thing. I'm here in Arizona. Like a tubular thing that the kids go on there on like a tire, and then they jump and it pushes air, and there's a ball. There's like a ball in a tubular object. It's a clear plastic tubular object, and the kids are jumping on this tire. It looks like a tire, like a sideways tire, and it's creating pressure, and it's making the ball rise, right? So whoever gets it highest wins. But the moment the kids could be jumping a lot, and the moment the kids like move from it, like stop jumping, even like 2 or 3 jumps, the ball all of a sudden falls all the way down, and they have to work really hard again to barely start getting it up again. When I looked at that, I hope I'm making any sense here. When I looked at that, I'm like, man, that's inspiration right there. That's a great example of inspiration. Like, unless you're moving and you're jumping, that ball is not going to go up, right? I looked at that ball as inspiration. That ball is not going to go up. No matter how much you want it to go up, no matter how much you are excited about it, and the moment that you disconnect from it, that ball will fall all the way to the bottom. And that's where we have our peaks and valleys. That's where we're like, yeah, this is awesome. Well, because you're moving, you're galloping, right? The moment that you're like, I don't know how you feel this week. 2-3 days, you're like, I don't know. You wake up late and you're kind of, you're uninspired. You're really not working. It's really what it is. Because your mindset is off. It's not that you're not inspired. Inspiration is not even there. Your mindset's off. So you're not putting in the time. You're not punching it. That ball comes down. And to get it up again, it's a bitch. To get it up again, it's a lot of work. You have to jump so much just to get it up, right? Just to get it up a little bit. And to maintain it up there, you have to not stop jumping. So that's what I have for you guys today. Keep moving, keep jumping if you want that inspiration to be high up. Keep moving, because if you disconnect even a little bit, you'll have a valley. And that's where we are like, oh man. It's like, I hear this from people who exercise and run, I don't know, miles or whatever. Some people say, man, if I don't run my 3 miles, I feel like crap, and I can relate to that, although I don't run any miles. But I can relate to that in painting, right? If I didn't paint one day, I'm like, oh man, something's me. If I didn't create some type of artwork, right? If I didn't do something that was artistic that day, all of a sudden I start feeling like, oh man, what's going on today? And it's not because I'm a workaholic or whatever, although I don't have a problem with that. It's because I gotta keep moving. I gotta keep that momentum going. Otherwise, I know that if I don't keep that momentum going 2-3 days in a row, it's going to be like, I heard this comedian said that starting a business, I think he said, or running a business. Yeah, starting it from the ground. It's like pushing a bike, that's pushing a piano with your eyeball on an uphill with your eyeball. I think something like that he said. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, yeah, that's pretty much it. If you don't keep the momentum, it's like, oh man, I got to push this thing up again. And that's when we start giving up, because we feel the pushback, and then now we have to. So it's better to maintain it up than to let it fall and try to push it again. I hope I made any sense to any of you guys out there. What I'm trying to say, dude, look, here it is. If you're going and trying to get gallery exhibits, dudes and dudettes, if you guys are trying to get gallery exhibits and things are working for you, and you're like, yeah, they invited me to this gallery, and then someone else is asking for a commission, and then someone else bought something online, and then you sit on your laurels for like a week, watch what happens. All of a sudden you start scratching your head, and you're like, what happened? Everything fell to the ground. I'm sure many of you have had this experience. I get this experience, I get it quite often. because when I punch, I'm like, and then if I stop for 2 or 3 days, I'm like, whoa, what happened here? What's going on? And it's because there's beautiful momentum happening, right? Things are happening and rolling, and people are like, oh dude, we're gonna invite you to this, or there's another exhibit here, or all of a sudden I get, in a single week, I'll get like 20 commission calls, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, well, what happened? I only get like 1 or 2, a day, or or whatever. I get busy, that's why. But anyways, I'll leave you guys with that. My name is Jose Trujillo, world's greatest living artist. Guys, keep pushing, keep hitting it, make it happen for you. All right? Take care. Adios.